Welcome again, WrestleTalk fans, and to our special edition. This is bonus content for all you wrestling fans. To the Attitude Era is gone, so get over it special. Today, we shall be talking about anything and everything wrestling as we always do, but our primary focus is how the Attitude Era died in 2001. Let it rest. Your host, again, my name is Joshua Zimmerman, wrestling fan since 1999 and Pennsylvania State Wrestling promoter. And again, we have wrestling insider and fan, James Kincade. Hello again.
Hello.
And you laughed at the beginning of this topic. I knew you didn't see it coming, but I figured I had to offset a couple of the videos with something a little different, and this came to mind. So, I know you got a complaint, and I'll let you take the start on this. What annoys you the most on YouTube when it comes to wrestling?
Well, the Attitude Era. Oh, it has to be the Attitude Era. Because it's still here, right? Oh, it has to go back to the Attitude Era. I'm sorry, but you're the same people who say same old shit, but then want the Attitude Era back, which is going to be the same. You can't have it both ways, you hypocrites. Sorry if I seem a little harsh, but it's true. I mean, Stone Cold's gone. Rock's gone. We get it. You pine. You aren't pine for them. I was a Stone Cold Mark too, a Rock Mark. But let's be honest. They're done. They left. Rock had pretty much. I think Rock only has about two major matches to his name that he could possibly do. One of which already just recently left, i.e. Sean, and the other one being John Cena, which, if my memory serves me
Which
correctly, last long.
they blew out of the water years ago. That was right around the time when he showed up, and they were still poking fun at the Bill Goldberg scenario. And they did say he would be a formidable opponent, but that you could pretty much rest assured that it's never going to happen.
All right. Now, like I said, I was a Stone Cold Mark. Although, to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad he went. He went bye-bye because he kind of got conveyor beltish. Where you knew as soon as he came out, you knew what was going to happen, a stunner, which was fine for the first couple of times, but eventually it's like, Stone Cold's here, yeah, he's going to stun somebody. Who is it this time? And the Attitude Era was good. Don't get me wrong, it gave us some great material, but it's in the past. It will never be able to come back. You're not going to have the same spark because it was a once in a lifetime thing. So get over it, people. Let me see. And speaking of same old shitters, what I hate is when people start screaming, oh, well, this thing that happened here was the same thing as before. We want something new. You get something new, i.e. somebody like Sheamus. Now, mind you, he's a decent talent. I will say that. Maybe a little too quick, I will admit. But at the same time, it was something new. But then you're going to scream, oh, he's too new. Make up your minds. Let me see if
Now
there's
that's
anything else.
just to recap. That's what I think a lot of you people don't understand, and this isn't to poke fun at you in any way, shape, or form. As always, to our YouTube subscribers, thank you, and we urge your constant support and feedback as we fine tune a couple of the things on this and try to bring you better programming. The reason for this is there's this misconception that this wasn't going to happen anyway, that this was something they just decided to do. And I have to tell you from my own perspective, either these guys would have been hurt or they would have done it till they stopped walking, or again, not or losing the ability to do so. These guys took options via their doctors and personal choices to retire, thus ending the storylines for the wrestlers that made the era possible. You would still be in this same predicament because what were we going to do? Say, no, Stone Cold, you can't retire? No, Rock, don't take that movie offer. You might have to go blow out your back tonight. It's a responsibility they took on to become professional wrestlers and when they wanted to be professional wrestlers, but it was their choice. And with those exits came a bunch of new blood. One that you're celebrating now, Randy Orton and John Cena's and etc. etc. You're
Well, that remains.
well, some of you are celebrating the overall outcome of the change. What I'm getting at is when the Attitude Era left, it left because it didn't want to. Believe me, Vince knew he had money in the bank. It left because your players were no longer there to do it. Vince McMahon didn't make the Attitude Era. Stone Cold Steve Austin did. The Rock did. Triple H did. Mick Foley, Mankind, Cactus Jack, Dude Love, my dad, whoever he decides to be that day. Yeah, you know?
Yeah, and the Dude Love case, not my favorite. I don't know.
Not mine either. That's why I thought it was my dad. He'd probably be a better in a match. But nobody sold out. Nobody. Change happened. And it was going to happen. Like I said, either these guys would have kept going until they physically couldn't do it anymore, or they had the plan B, leave on your own terms. And I'm sorry, but you're all hypocrites if you say, if you were 35 in the NFL, 45, well, just say 25 to 45, and you're in the NFL, if you had made your money, gotten more than you can spend, which most of these WWE wrestlers have, and you were faced with it of retire comfortably while I can still move, or go out for the love of the business and risk hurting myself and the money, or just take the money and retire in good health with my family, as 90% of them have done. The other 10% are in my group of weasels that like to negotiate contracts in between the night they leave WWE and the morning they start with TNA.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You know, I mean, it's a lot of bullshit, but I think it's like getting back to the point. It's a major misconception if you think that this wouldn't have happened anyway. McMahon didn't call it quits on Attitude. Attitude transferred out because the wrestlers were no longer there. The change had to happen, and this is what you're left with. What it now becomes, and you know, we're getting into Attitude, but as we brace you for what we have on there now, it becomes the argument of Attitude cannot be reproduced. They were storylines that fit the particular wrestlers that were there at the time. But now you have companies rehashing 10 years of wrestling and sticking it to whoever when these characters were made famous by certain people. You can do them. It's just not gonna, your perceptions, that nobody's gonna know where you're at. One, because if you're any kind of wrestling fan, you'll realize that you've seen this before. And two, hey, didn't that guy used to work for WWE? Just a few thoughts. But, and again, I'll let him have some fun because he was having fun earlier. People really should have heard him. But maybe this will get him going again. What about those fans that think because I took the F away and put the E up?
Oh man. Oh, those dipwads. Well, let's see honest. It wasn't a 1 week later, suddenly there's an E. It was the same show. They went from the F to the E in the same night. It's the same fucking company, you people. You morons. You people need to understand that the E doesn't matter. The E is still the F.
Can you put a disclaimer in there for all my fans? Because not everyone in the wrestling community are morons.
Yeah, I will say that. I'm sorry.
Address that correctly.
I will hereby say that all you who actually get that point are fine. I have no problem with you. I used to have the majority problem of those people who go, oh, WWE was fake, WWE is fake, WWF is real. No, that's you trying to relive something. I mean, Bret Hart, when I did watch it,
still calls it the WWF.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, granted, he's not the greatest on the stick. We're all aware of this, but it still helps more than it hurts.
Come on, folks. He is getting old. We can give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, he never really was good on the stick. He was better in the ring, but I digress on that one. Simply put, E is F. They're the same promotion. There's no difference whatsoever. Even if it was still F, you'd still have the same storylines going right now.
Everything you're seeing now still would have happened. Who's to say maybe Vince would have made some smarter choices and certain things wouldn't have went down the way certain things did. On our next installment, I just want to tease this a bit. We're going to discuss Bret Hart. And if it's over quietly and he's like not there anymore, as far as I know, I didn't catch Raw tonight. I will get the recap tonight in a way that doesn't spoil it. Well, either way, it's going to be spoilers. We both know that. But I will make sure I rewatch because it is on again. And we're going to talk about what he can do for wrestling now. Maybe a little bit about the screw job, but I don't know about you. I'm kind of... The screw job, just to touch on it for a minute, the screw job, just hearing the name turns me off anymore. It used to be something intriguing. Now it's just wrestling's blemish, you know?
It's mostly because the fans drilled it into the ground. You screwed Bret. You screwed Bret. Well, okay, it happened. Get over it. I mean, if it wasn't for Bret coming back, just to touch on it, and my view on it, we'd still probably hear about. I can't wait till they go to Montreal.
Yeah, because it was always perceptive that Bret was the one who felt screwed. So to hear him come out and make amends, one first of all has to question his motives, and two, like, you couldn't have done this a couple of years ago. Like,
maybe he still had a grudge. It's just that what I'm saying is, if I don't get my, if I'm not up to date by the next time to go to Montreal, and you're able to see when they're in Montreal, let me know what the reaction is if, say, Vince comes out. Because honestly, unless Bret Hart ends up there, because I am so tired of hearing you screwed Bret. It happened, 13 years now?
We're going to install... Hold on, WrestleTalk fans. We're going to install Bret Hart right after this because it's fresh on his mind. Just to recap, this is not going to be a multiple thing. Attitude's over. This is what you're left with. Now stick with me and we'll decipher what's wrong with wrestling, how to fix it, and maybe collectively we can look out for the little guys, see them get pushed again, talent rotation. This is all the shit I'm trying to talk about. Shit that runs a promotion. Shit that runs it right. You can't go day in, day out with the same thing running the same line. Because then it just becomes a vicious cycle. All this and more next.